Elder Centipede. As a dragon-level executive of the Monster Association and one of the biggest monsters in the entire series, Elder Centipede was feared by the public as the colossal insect that once wrecked a city and then vanished without a trace. Because of that, he was basically treated like a wanted monster. You see, in the Monster Association, there are high-level beings called Cadre. These monsters are basically the executives of the organization, and they're one of the biggest threats to the heroes. But that's not all. At the end of this video, I'll also cover 2 bonus characters who are even more dangerous, holding a position higher than the deadliest executives. Just a quick heads up, this video contains manga spoilers, so watch at your own risk. Though smaller than its stronger counterpart, Sage Centipede, Elder Centipede looked like a gigantic centipede with an old, wrinkled human face right in the middle of its head. Compared to his smaller versions, Junior Centipede and Senior Centipede, his size was on a whole different level. After molting during his battle with Bang, and Genos, he grew even larger. His third face basically peeled back to reveal a fourth, and he gained 2 more glowing eyes. His first appearance occurred after Metal Bat defeated Senior Centipede and Raffle Sidon. Elder Centipede showed up trying to kidnap Narinki. Metal Bat rushed in and landed a strike near his face, but Elder Centipede just tossed Metal Bat aside. 2 years before these events, Blast nearly destroyed Elder Centipede. Ever since then, he held a grudge and desperately wanted revenge. That's why, in the fight against Bang, and Genos, the moment King announced that Blast was nearby, Elder Centipede abandoned the fight right away. Interestingly, even Bang, and Genos together couldn't take Elder Centipede down. The association even compared him to natural disasters. By the time Elder Centipede returned, the Hero Association noticed he had grown even bigger than before. He was so huge, fast, and powerful that Guro stated only 4 heroes could actually beat him. Those 4 heroes are Tatsumaki, Metal Knight, Blast, and King, which, as you already know, was supposed to be Saitama. Naturally, his power was insane. Elder Centipede could flatten an entire city just by crawling through it. He could tunnel underground at high speeds, pop out of anywhere, and even intercept one of Genos' blasts after it was already fired. His strength was enough to launch Metal Bat hundreds of feet across the city, and cause heavy damage to Bang, and Genos. As for his defensive stats, Elder Centipede's body was protected by a carapace so strong that it tanked Metal Knight's missiles. After molting, it became even bigger and tougher. His face, though less protected, still survived multiple direct blows from Metal Bat. Even when Bang and damaged his outer shell and Genos incinerated his insides, Elder Centipede just kept coming. He even survived Genos' jet drive arrow and spiral incineration cannon. His body was filled with corrosive digestive fluids strong enough to melt through Genos' robotic body, if contact lasted too long. In Chapter 57, he showed off one of his techniques called Centipede Undulation, also known as Giant Centipede Tidal Wave, where he moved in a spiraling motion and caused massive destruction. In Chapter 85, we saw he could rapidly regenerate, restoring his teeth, eyes, and even recovering from being burned up inside. The only way to truly stop him was to destroy his entire body, which is exactly what Saitama did. In the end, it was King who distracted Elder Centipede by bluffing that he brought Blast along. While Elder Centipede was focused on that, Saitama appeared right behind King and finished things with a serious punch. Naturally, almost everyone credited King for the victory. Fuhrer Ugly. Also called President Ugly, Fuhrer Ugly was a dragon-level mysterious being and an executive of the Monster Association. He was an Ugmon. In One Punch Man, Ugmons are humans who were once mocked for being ugly. Some were bullied, rejected in love, or just couldn't handle social life. Over time, that pain, inferiority, and jealousy grew into hatred, and their hearts got swallowed by darkness. When that happens, they transform into monsters. The uglier their hearts are, the stronger they become. As a dragon-level threat, Fuhrer Ugly's strength showed right away. He crushed Sweet Mask's skull with a single punch and ripped him apart with ease. Sweet Mask himself admitted that Fuhrer Ugly was the one opponent he couldn't beat. The funny thing is, Fuhrer Ugly hated Sweet Mask the most, even saying both of them made girls scream, just in different ways. Because Fuhrer Ugly's face was so hideous, Sweet Mask froze the moment he saw it. Fuhrer Ugly can mutate his cells to grow larger and become even stronger. Even in a weakened state, Tatsumaki had a hard time holding him down with their psychic powers. Against Tank Top Master, Fuhrer Ugly countered his Tank Top tackle with his own move, breaking both of the hero's forearms and nearly beating him to death. Many of his most famous moments are his battles against S-class heroes. Fuhrer Ugly once faced Bang and used one of his signature attacks, the face-caving punch. In later chapters, just as Fuhrer Ugly was about to look at the weakened Tatsumaki's forbidden pants, Bang attacked Gums, which distracted Fuhrer Ugly. With Genos' help, they managed to rescue Tank Top Master. Just as they were about to leave, Fuhrer Ugly got back up and used his Dignity Caving Punch. Thanks to this ability, he grew in size and swung with even more power. Bang managed to redirect the blow into Gums, then hit Fuhrer Ugly with a series of martial arts strikes. With this defeat, Fuhrer Ugly badly wanted to get his revenge on Bang. Thinking that Fuhrer Ugly's attack was on purpose, Gums ended up swallowing Fuhrer Ugly whole. Inside its stomach, Fuhrer Ugly dissolved in acid, but he ripped his way out, tearing Gums in half. The digestive fluids that covered him made him even more dangerous. From then on, his body was layered with acid, letting him melt incoming strikes and boost his own attacks. Fuhrer Ugly mainly relied on brute strength and close quarters combat. Without any martial arts, he can use a raw violence combined with insults to break down his enemies both physically and mentally. He had several techniques. The forearm caving punch shattered Tank Top Master's arms. The full body caving punch crushed Tank Top Master's body over and over until he was a bloody mess. When covered in acid, these attacks evolved into the forearms melting punch and full body melting punch. He even used the full body melting punch against Nichiren and Atomic Samurai. In his acidic form, vomited Fuhrer Ugly was even stronger. He matched Super Alloy Darkshine's power head-on and melted through Darkshine's tough skin with his corrosive body. He could spit acid at enemies, coat his punches with it, and tear apart anything. On top of that, Fuhrer Ugly also gained a defensive layer of digestive fluids. Black S noted he smelled horrible in that state. Even while submerged in acid, Fuhrer Ugly healed himself by melting and swelling his body from the inside. However, he couldn't keep his acid going forever unless he ate food to replenish himself. When Black S, in his golden form, punched him, and Homeless Emperor followed it up with consecutive energy orbs, Fuhrer Ugly was left full of holes and pathetically ran away. Naturally, Fuhrer Ugly couldn't survive fatal wounds. Garuo proved that by punching a massive hole through his abdomen, defeating him for good. Fuhrer Ugly explained that the inferiority he feels can buff his power, making his digestive juices even deadlier. Whether it's a strange light or even solid gold, he believes he can melt anything into a puddle. He calls this ability extreme violence or brute brutality, a reflection of his warped personality and deep inferiority complex. Before striking Child Emperor, he even boasted that his power was more impressive than Guro's Esper abilities. Fuhrer Ugly wasn't afraid to attack allies either. In his acidic state, he even ate some of Black S's duplicates and planned to keep him as livestock for protein. He was thrilled when he saw Bang beaten down by Garo, planning to melt him slowly and enjoy the show. He then got greedy and went for a full body melting punch. Before it could land, Garo destroyed him on the spot. Interestingly, when Bang first met him, he commented that Fuhrer Ugly looked like his face had already been caved in. Fuhrer Ugly said that was his real face. Gums. Gums is a dragon-level threat and one of the cadres of the Monster Association. Gums was driven by nothing but hunger. It always wanted to eat, and if its meals were interrupted, it went into a rage. That's why it attacked Pig God when he saved Tank Top Master, and why he got mad when Bang redirected Fuhrer Ugly's punch into his face, forcing it to spit out Genos. Although it couldn't talk, it clearly understood human speech. During the fight, Gums tried to swallow Pig God and Tank Top Master. They narrowly escaped at first, but after Fuhrer Ugly brutalized Tank Top Master, Gums managed to bite down on him. Bang arrived just in time, kicking a hole through Gums to free Tank Top Master, while Genos burned his insides from within. Even with those wounds, Gums regenerated almost instantly and bit down on Genos. When Fuhrer Ugly's attack was redirected into its body, Gums thought he had been betrayed and swallowed Ugly whole. That was a mistake, because Fuhrer Ugly ripped his way out, tearing Gums apart. As a dragon-level threat, Gums had strength on par with other executives. Like the S-rank hero Pig God, its abilities revolved around brute force and eating anything in its path. It could chomp through metal and rubble with ease, crush heavy machinery, and even swallow Pig God whole. Its appetite was endless, and its bite force was so strong that Tank Top Master struggled to break free once he was caught. Another standout moment is when Gums bit into the psychic barrier Tatsumaki had created to protect Pig God. After consuming a massive amount of rubble, Gums swelled into an enormous size. But it digested everything instantly and shrank back to its normal form within moments. When it ate huge amounts, its body ballooned up in size, but it would digest everything right away and shrink back to normal. Its digestion was ridiculously fast and powerful. According to Pig God, Gums made him look like he was on a diet. Through Fuhrer Ugly's vomited form, Gums' stomach acid was shown to be strong enough to corrode Atomic Samurai's katana and even burn through Super Alloy Darkshine's skin. When gums bit down on Pig God, it couldn't chew through his thick layers of fat, which acted like armor and absorbed the impact. Overgrown Rover, better known as Rover, is a dragon-level disaster and an executive member of the Monster Association. Its main job is to act like a guard dog, watching over the association's headquarters. Rover first showed up when it tracked Garo after he helped Terrio escape. At first, Rover just stood there like a watchdog, only getting aggressive if someone had made the wrong move or showed hostility towards it. When Garu and Terrio backed off slowly, Rover let them go. But even then, Garo could feel how dangerous this monster was. Soon after, Garo was ambushed by 3 demon-level monsters, Supermouse, Showerhead, and Unihorn. When Garo launched Unihorn away, the poor guy went flying right into Rover's direction. That set Rover off, and it finally attacked. One of its close-range energy blasts was so powerful that Garo knew it meant certain death. The only reason he survived was thanks to the flashback ability kicking in, giving him the strength he needed to fight back. Because the Monster Association valued raw destructive power, Rover was ranked as a Cadre. Rover could fire rapid energy blasts from its mouth, strong enough to incinerate stone, wipe out city blocks, and even blow through the floors of the Monster Association's base. These blasts annihilated 2 demon-level monsters instantly and shook all of Z City so badly that Saitama mistook it for an earthquake. At one point, Garo's best attack didn't even scratch Rover. On top of its firepower, Rover had insane durability. It even survived a punch from Saitama. Rover lost consciousness from the punch, but survived, and after that, it became scared of Saitama, running away when it later saw him fighting Orochi. As a dragon-level threat, Rover is fast enough to keep up with Garo in its half-monster form, sprint across walls, and in its smaller size, it could even chase down the Blizzard Group's car moving at 100 kilometers an hour. It also managed to sneak up on Bang and Bomb without being noticed. When it attacked, it instantly fired an energy blast at them and Fubuki. Despite its destructive nature, Rover has a habit of submitting to stronger beings. This was clear from when Bang and Bomb used their ultimate combination technique, the Cross-Fang Dragon Slayer Fist. Even after being hit with an attack stronger than what they used against Elder Centipede, Rover stood up again with little damage, but then sat down in submission. After the Monster Association's defeat, Rover actually became Saitama's pet alongside Black S. The once massive beast shrank down to the size of a large dog. Rover itself started acting more like one, licking Saitama affectionately. Homeless Emperor was a dragon-level mysterious being and one of the Monster Association's executives. Unlike most monsters, his powers were given to him directly by God. Originally, Homeless Emperor looked like a rough-looking man. Despite that, his strength was so overwhelming that Zombie Man himself said his attacks looked like magic and were way too powerful to be explained. His powers were given to him just a month before the hero stormed the association. At the time, he was at rock bottom. He lost his job, was thrown out by his landlord, and left human society behind to live a solitary life. He carried a deep resentment toward humanity, especially after humiliations like being forced to dance naked at a work party, only to be fired the next day and accused of harassment. One day, when he looked up at the sky, he had an epiphany. Suddenly, his hatred for his boss and other such things no longer seemed to matter. Compared to the vastness of the earth and the brightness of the heavens, human struggle seemed worthless to him. To Homeless Emperor, humanity is but one insignificant existence on this great earth, and that his home is far grander than any mansion. It is this very earth. That thought consumed him until he believed the only way to escape the ugliness of humanity and truly coexist with Mother Earth was to die. But in that moment, God appeared. God told him he was right, but also said he didn't need to die. Instead, God would grant him power. With that, Homeless Emperor became convinced he was chosen, destined to wipe out humanity and restore the Earth. In battle, Homeless Emperor relied completely on these divine powers. He could create countless energy spheres of pure destructive light, summoning them like he was conducting a symphony. These orbs could explode on impact, but enlarged for even greater destruction, and be used defensively to block bullets and projectiles. They were so overwhelming that he even hinted he could bombard an entire battlefield with carpet bombing scale attacks. Black S said there seemed to be no limit to the number of spheres he could create. But since his body was still human, he was vulnerable to backstabs from his own team, something Black S actually planned to do. Against Zombie Man, Homeless Emperor showed incredible speed and reflexes. He could counter bullets at point-blank range, dodge ambushes, and overwhelm Zombie Man completely. Later, he even blasted Fuhrer Ugly in rage, and during the chaos with Golden S, he unleashed more of his power. His signature attacks included straight-line bombardment, where he rained consecutive energy orbs at his opponents. Homeless Emperor also had extreme carpet bombing, where he fills the sky with spheres that come crashing down like a storm. His biggest moment of tension came from when he confronted King. Testing King, he threatened to vaporize him instantly. But King, bluffing as usual, told him to look at the unstable rubble under his feet. Homeless Emperor panicked, believing King had some hidden technique to dodge his lights and strike him instantly. When King casually said, "just a regular human," referring to himself, Homeless Emperor completely misunderstood. He thought King had seen through his secret, that without his divine light, he really was just an ordinary man. Eventually, Zombie Man managed to pin him down and interrogate him about the source of his powers. Just as he was about to answer, he saw a giant figure appear on the moon. Then, in a vision of an endless field, God loomed over him and declared, "Silence. I am taking them back." In an instant, his powers were stripped away. Even though there's no fire nearby, his body crumbled apart as if it was combusting from the inside, leaving nothing behind. Black S, also known as Black Sperm, was one of the executive members of the Monster Association and a dragon-level threat. According to data, Black S's entire body was made up of countless cells, and each one of those cells was self-conscious and capable of fighting on its own. This gave him a terrifying ability to freely split, multiply, and fight in overwhelming numbers. As a dragon-level monster, even a single clone of Black S was strong enough to knock Atomic Samurai back. With hundreds of thousands of copies, he could overwhelm powerful heroes, restrain Sweet Mask, crush Genos into the ground, or even grab Tatsumaki when she was weakened. Even his smaller versions were dangerous. Those 100 cells served as his backup plan in case Platinum S was defeated. However, these cells weren't just mindless copies. Each one had its own personality, and they often clashed. In one moment, some wanted to merge to take down Darkshine, while others hated taking orders or thought merging was pointless. Black S could shapeshift however he wanted, sprouting limbs, stretching his body, and growing massive by merging cells together. The key to his survival was how his physiology worked. If a fatal attack cut him up, instead of dying, he could split into more copies, as long as he still had enough cells left. He could also regenerate from injuries, as long as he had cell reserves, and eating protein let him replenish his stock. The only real danger was attacks that didn't slice him apart, like blunt force or acid. When he was slashed by Atomic Samurai without completely chopping him up, Black S's ability to multiply immediately is largely affected. Black S's biggest power came from merging. By combining countless cells into one body, he could evolve into more powerful forms. The more cells he merges, the stronger the new version becomes. And with that strength comes even more arrogance. One good example is Golden S, which was born from 43 trillion cells fusing together. This form gave him a muscular golden body. Vomited Fuhrer's ugly digestive fluids are meaningless against the corrosive properties of its golden form. It is also shiny and bulky enough to shatter Darkshine's confidence and power enough to blast him away. The peak was Platinum S, a fusion of 53,999,999,999,999,900 cells. Platinum S was even shinier than Golden S, but slimmer and more agile, combining all that power with greater speed. For Black S, this fusion was a combination of sorrow and joy. He mourned the loss of so many cells, but also celebrated what he saw as his true self finally being born. During this merging, the 54 trillion cells are contending to be the sole consciousness. Once cells merge, they can no longer separate. Basically, for the birth of one new life, countless others have to be sacrificed. For Black S, this process is beautiful. Outside and inside of combat, Black S was arrogant, but also insecure. When Homeless Emperor was pinned down by Zombie Man, he told Black S to get rid of him, but Black S refused, not wanting to leave himself open to attacks with King nearby. He also admitted that his cell supply wasn't unlimited. However, when he thought King saw him as nothing more than an ant, his pride exploded in rage, triggering his transformation into Platinum S. After the Monster Association's defeat, Black S actually survived. He ended up latching out a Saitama as a pet. When he saw that Saitama wanted to take in Rover as a pet dog, Black S pretended to act like a talking monkey so Saitama would adopt him too. Now he lives in a doghouse near Saitama's place, waiting until he can recover his cells. Goketsu. Goketsu was once a legendary martial artist, even winning the very first super fight tournament more than a decade before the main story. To the public, Goketsu was assumed dead long ago. In reality, he became a monster. His fate changed when he crossed paths with Monster King Orochi. Orochi crushed him in battle, then dragged him into the Monster Association's base. Goketsu was given a choice: eat a monster cell and live, or refuse and die. As a dragon-level threat and an executive of the Monster Association, Goketsu showed just how terrifying that transformation made him. Although he had already proven his strength as a human, as a monster, he once crushed Genos and A-class heroes like Lightning Max and Snek, 5-time Super Fight Champ Tsuryu, and even a dragon-level monster like Bakuzan without breaking a sweat. In his fight against Goketsu, Genos immediately realized how overwhelming Goketsu was. He thought that his power and intense presence felt like facing his master, Saitama himself. Genos believed that even a group of S-class heroes working together with Saitama would be needed to take him down. Of course, we know Saitama later defeated him instantly. On top of his strength, he was incredibly durable. Tsuryu's strongest blows, including his Void Sky Dragon Fist, didn't even make him flinch. As a martial artist, Goketsu was superior to fighters like Chose, Bakuzan, and even Tsuryu himself. Even after turning into a monster, he maintained his refined skills, combining them with his new monstrous strength. His perception was sharp enough to judge the abilities of others. For example, he instantly recognized Bakuzan's level as a dragon class, and even suggested that Tsuryu could become a Cadre level threat if he ate a monster cell. After becoming a monster, Goketsu's body also adapted in strange but useful ways. Each of his 4 eyes could move independently, allowing him to track multiple fast-moving opponents at once. In the end, Saitama sent him to the afterlife. Evil Neutral Water. Evil Neutral Water was created during Gyro's experiments, and from that point on, it became a dragon-level mysterious being and an executive member of the Monster Association. Evil Natural Water is a liquid life form. It reacts to negative emotions like hostility and hatred, and can fire high-pressure water cannons. Evil Natural Water can also absorb any liquid it touches, which boosts its mass and makes its water jets even more destructive. The more it absorbs, the bigger and stronger it becomes. Its eyeballs might look like weak spots, but they're also liquid, giving them the same defense as the rest of its body. Thanks to its watery body, it can also shapeshift, giving it great control over its form. But even with that adaptability, it couldn't avoid being scattered into droplets by Tatsumaki's psychokinesis and Saitama's punches. Evil Natural Water possesses some levels of intelligence. For example, it absorbed oil from sludge jellyfish to avoid freezing. That gave it freezing resistance, lowering its freezing point and making it much harder to trap in ice. It can also work with other aquatic monsters. At one point, it used its liquid body to hold Mad Dr. Fish inside, then launched them as secondary attacks. When Child Emperor fought it, he noticed the water jets created perfect circular cuts, just like a water jet cutter used in construction. That meant even the slightest touch could be fatal. Before it developed resistance to freezing, Child Emperor's flash freezing breath took it out instantly, since it couldn't regulate its body temperature. Its main attack is those water jets. They're faster than bullets and have insane piercing power. They once cut through Iaion's katana and injured the Child Emperor. According to Iaion, the more underground water it absorbed, the stronger it got. He even wondered what would happen if it absorbed the entire ocean. And in the end, that's exactly what it did. Against enemies, the effectiveness of its power varied depending on matchups. For instance, its jets barely hurt Super Alloy Dark Shine, who tanked all of them and even joked they felt like a shower after a workout. But when Garo attacked with monstrous speed, Evil Natural Water reacted instantly. It fired jets at him within 0.1 seconds of sensing his hostility. Interestingly, Garo's attack during this fight was so fast that people thought it was King's ultimate Hellfire Burst Wave motion. After absorbing the ocean, it transformed into Evil Ocean Water. This giant form gave it access to its strongest attack, the Ocean Grand Cannon. These blasts reshaped the landscape and even injured Monster Garo. In this state, it survived a serious punch from Saitama, but the attack completely split the ocean apart and scattered its body. Later, while heroes searched for survivors, Evil Natural Water reappeared in a smaller, weakened state. Pig God tried to eat it, but the creature fought back with water jets that pierced his body and even took down Air, an A-class hero. In the end, Pig God digested it completely, marking Evil Neutral Water's true death. Nyan. Nyan is a dragon-level mysterious being and a former executive of the Monster Association. Originally, Nyan was just a normal house cat. Because its owner suffocated it with unwanted affection, Nyan grew to hate that life. Eventually, Nyan changed into a monster, left its owner, and eventually joined the Monster Association. We first see Nyan when it breaks into Smelly Lid Prison looking for Puri Puri Prisoner. Since Puri Puri wasn't there, Nyan handed out monster cells, transforming many prisoners into monsters and leading a massive jailbreak. As a dragon-level threat, Nyan was extremely powerful. It easily subdued the prisoners and guards, and its claws were sharp enough to injure even S-class heroes like Puri Puri Prisoner. Its main move, Feline Retribution, could slice through Puri Puri's skin, which was normally hard enough to withstand razor blades. These claw strikes even created shockwaves strong enough to cut buildings apart. Against Drive Knight, Feline Retribution tore apart his bishop from the inside and destroyed several buildings, but it couldn't leave lasting damage once Drive Knight switched to gold form. On top of that, Nyan had the ability to slip through openings as small as 3 millimeters. It could stretch and deform its body to escape restraints, squeeze through walls, or even enter opponents. Its claws could also extend their length, making its slashes even more destructive. When Nyan saw Saitama one-shot Overgrown Rover, it tried his ultimate move, Super Feline Retribution, unleashing faster and larger claw attacks. Naturally, the best it managed was leaving light scratch marks on Saitama's head. Realizing it stood no chance, Nyan immediately ran for its life. Later, when Nyan tried to capture Waganma, Drive Knight appeared to intercept its plan. Despite Nyan's speed and intelligence, Drive Knight kept countering every move by switching between forms like Night Mode, Flying Chariot, Bishop, and more. At one point, Drive Knight even hit Nyan with a dissolving acid that weakened it. Nyan's plan was to slip inside Drive Knight's body through his eyes or mouth and destroy him with Feline Retribution. Little did Nyan know that was exactly what Drive Knight was waiting for. Once Nyan got inside, Drive Knight activated his golden form. Its true ability was heat, and Nyan was literally cooked. Stabbed to keep it from escaping, Nyan was left trapped in flames until there was nothing left of it. Orochi, known as the Monster King, was the leader of the Monster Association and stood at a level above most Dragon-class threats. As the first bonus character in this video, records even describe him as the true monster, a threat more dangerous than all executives of the Monster Organization. Before becoming what he is, Orochi was actually a human. Using brutal methods, he was the very first success of Psykos' experiments in creating a perfect monster. Psykos believed that true monsterification required a human to face death again and again until their body and spirit completely broke. To push this further, she added methods such as blood and cell transfusions, breeding, and endless pain and stress. When she first met Orochi as a man, she told him he was already going insane. Through her process, he finally transformed into a monster. But even then, Psykos admitted that Garo's potential was greater than his. As a monster, Orochi developed terrifying abilities. His horns could extend like limbs or tentacles, heavy and fast enough to pierce almost anything. His body was a fusion of countless monsters, with the layers of jaws inside his mouth and the ability to shift his limbs into dragon-like worms. He could unleash himself into a nest of dragon heads, each one armed with claws and fangs, and even copy fighting styles after observing them once. With a glance, he mastered Water Stream Rock Smashing Fist to the same level as Garo at the time. Knowing he defeated Goketsu before, Orochi speculatively has copied his techniques as well. Orochi can also absorb organisms that touch him, even devouring other monsters he sees as useless. He could generate monster cells from his own body, making him the source of the Monster Association's army. His strength was undeniable. In fact, even Goketsu called Orochi the strongest monster on Earth. In battle, Orochi showed a wide range of powers. He could breathe fire hot enough to combust stone, and fire energy blasts from his dragons. One of his strongest moves was Gaia Cannon, where he drew energy from the Earth's core with his tail, compressed it, and blasted it from his chest. However, this move was completely stopped by Saitama's Serious Squirt Gun, which is a part of his Serious series. Orochi's most frightening ability was perhaps his transformation and complete body manipulation. Orochi could unleash his humanoid form into a monstrous mass of dragon heads, limbs, and mouths. As he grew stronger, he instinctively began absorbing the Earth's energy, stumbling upon ancient ruins and a mural of godlike beings. Believing himself chosen by heaven, he wore a mask and pretended to obey Gyoro, all while sacrificing others in hopes of becoming that ancient monster. His final mistake was choosing Saitama as his ultimate sacrifice. When Orochi first met Saitama, he realized the monster cells inside him became restless. That's when he understood Saitama was the one who obliterated Gouketsu and Elder Centipede, and that he's the rumored monster of Ghost Town. Excited, Orochi transformed further, seeing Saitama as a human who had reached the peak of strength. When fighting at full power, Orochi removes his mask and reveals his true form. Even after being shredded by Saitama, he could still manipulate and transform his scattered flesh across the Monster Association base. When his body was split apart, Orochi experienced fear for the first time. Even after being blown apart by Saitama, Orochi clung to life. Because his heart was still intact, he spread his flesh and regenerated by consuming other monsters. At one point, he even attempted to absorb Psykos herself. The result was a fusion where both their consciousnesses shared one body. During the fusion, Orochi showed his hidden powers, which helped him corrupt Psykos' mind. Psykos' willpower gave her dominant control, but Orochi's presence still lingered, amplifying her powers, gaining new abilities, and boosting his thirst for revenge against Saitama. Ultimately, Orochi was defeated. After his fight with Saitama and his fusion with Psykos, the S-Class heroes intervened, and Tatsumaki shredded his body, destroying his heart for good. Psykos. Psykos is an Esper, the military advisor of the Monster Association, and the mastermind behind its most dangerous creations. Through countless inhumane experiments, she transformed humans into monsters, with Orochi being her greatest success. Using her meat puppet Giro, Psykos hid her true identity while orchestrating the association strategies and leading its attacks on the heroes. As the second highest ranking member, Psykos wielded authority over almost everyone in the association. On her own, she was a dragon-level threat with powerful psychic abilities. Although weaker than Tatsumaki and only reaching her level for an instant during their battle, Psykos' powers made her extremely dangerous. After fusing with Orochi, her strength skyrocketed, allowing her to contend with Tatsumaki herself and even wound her. Even before the fusion, Psykos had a wide set of abilities. She could send psychic signals across great distances and control Giro from 1,500 meters underground. While piloting Giro, she used gravity manipulation to crush enemies, deployed spy drones shaped like Giro to monitor events, and even communicated through them. Psykos' true gift was her third eye. Much like clairvoyance, it allowed Psykos to glimpse the future. The thing is, the visions she saw drove her insane and planted her desire to wipe out humanity. Some of her most powerful abilities include psychic binding to immobilize targets and super gravity waves to multiply gravity so much that even Tatsumaki struggled. At her peak, she could raise gravity to 300 times the normal level. Psykos' fusion with Orochi began after Orochi barely survived his fight with Saitama. The two merged into a new form, a massive entity of tentacles, with Psykos shining from the waist up and Orochi's monstrous body fused below. It was in this state that they encountered God, who granted them mysterious new power. This fusion transformed Psykos into something alien. Her body became a star-like form, capable of absorbing other beings through her roots. She believed that she was the first step toward merging with the earth itself and evolving into a celestial being. Her psychic powers, amplified by Orochi, reached a level where she could seize Tatsumaki's barriers and even reflect her own power back at her. Their combined attacks were devastating. They created tsunamis that shook entire hemispheres, unleashed energy blasts that cut through the Earth's surface, and generated widespread destruction that even Genos' Thunder Drill cannon couldn't withstand. Psykos could also shapeshift her fusion body, forming giant avatars of herself, dragon summons, and strange constructs like beaks or massive faces that fired laser beams. Despite their overwhelming power, the fusion had a weakness. Psykos' barrier could not completely seal off every part of their body. Tatsumaki exploited this by disguising herself as energy, infiltrating Psykos' roots, and striking from within. Even while suppressing her powers to avoid detection, Tatsumaki managed to wound Psykos. To Tatsumaki's surprise, Psykos was still able to pierce her. Genos' support allowed Tatsumaki to twist an entire city with her psychic power, which in turn destroyed Psykos' roots and inflicted fatal damage. But before she could deal the final blow, Tatsumaki's power loosened. Psykos survived by transforming into a jet-like form, fleeing in desperation to absorb humans in the nearby city for energy. With Orochi's copy ability, she even replicated Tatsumaki's decoy technique, scattering multiple psychic duplicates to escape. But the heroes tracked her down. With Drive Knight's pursuit, Tatsumaki's barrier trapping her, and the heroes, especially S-Class, rarely cooperating, Psykos was finally defeated. Her end came when Tatsumaki launched a Spear of Light, finishing the fight. You see, long before the Monster Association, Psykos had a very different life. Originally, she was a close friend of Fubuki in high school and the vice president of the Society of Supernatural Research. At the time, her psychic power was weak compared to Fubuki's. To help grow their club into an organization able to surpass Tatsumaki, Psykos researched the third eye, hoping to rival prophets like Shiba Bawa. When her ability awakened, the future she saw broke her mind. In her vision, humanity was nothing more than a plague. She basically saw a future of world domination. Horrified, she declared humanity should be destroyed and rebuilt from zero. Fubuki, unable to understand her reasoning, sealed Psykos' powers when they were just teenagers, Psykos being only 17 years old. From then on, they became enemies. Psykos later formed the Monster Association with the goal of destroying humanity. After its defeat, she was captured. Guilty that she didn't understand Psykos in the past, even selfishly viewing her as an enemy, Fubuki interrogated her. Upon touching Psykos, she saw a glimpse of God herself. Interestingly, Psykos hinted that she had warned Fubuki many times, even telling her about the true potential of psychic powers. That's why she was angry when Fubuki chose to focus on hero activities instead. Psykos' presence also attracted the attention of Tsukiyomi, the same psychic research organization that once imprisoned Tatsumaki as a child. They planned to capture Psykos and study her brain. This angered Tatsumaki, who acted as if she wanted to end Psykos to keep her out of Tsukiyomi's hands, but secretly planned to protect her. And that's every Cadre member explained. Out of all of them, who's your favorite in the Monster Association? Let's compare your answers in the comments. And if you want more anime explained in minutes, click the videos on your screen and keep watching.